bulk water provisioned to the municipalities. Similar, Councillor, you asking the reservoirs from rainwater. We give reservoirs to the municipality. And more than often, I see those reservoirs coming back to us. I don't have an obligation to give you the reservoirs. No, let me please speak. With respect, I allowed you to speak. You have an obligation towards me to listen when I speak.
Councillor Mas, we are not going to do to my officials. You are the politicians. If you want to howl, you can howl me as your colleague. I bring officials here to support you. But if a councillor stoops so low, it's a big no. No, don't assist me, please. But you know what? I'm dealing with a crop of leaders here. The way we handle issues, we are not scared of criticism, but will not allow disrespect. Please don't do it again. My apologies, Sip.
Yeah, thank you, GM. So just in the interest of transparency, what we do on a daily basis, we share the reservoirs with the municipalities in terms of their levels and the meters. The graphs that I've shown here are the meters and the water consumed to or by the municipalities. We share this information on a daily basis. We will continuously engage our colleagues in the municipality to make sure that this information is cascaded all the way down. There were a lot of questions around Vlakfontein. From where I'm seated, and the COO can provide details if there's a need, the 3 reservoirs are functioning. One of the reasons we built Reservoir 3 in Vlakfontein is because we wanted to take out Vlakfontein 1 and 2 so that we can do the maintenance. The reality of it, and I'm glad the numbers have been disputed, the consumption of water is so much that you cannot do without any of those reservoirs. So if anything, Tshwane has stabilized because of Vlakfontein 3. And then please, if you want to understand how the reservoirs work, how they are connected, do not go to Vlakfontein on your own. Request us to make sure that we have the right position in Vlakfontein to make sure that you understand how the system works. So it is incorrect that Vlakfontein 3 does not have water. Otherwise, if Vlakfontein 3 did not have water, Tshwane and Ekurhuleni would not be having water. Now, Vlakfontein 1, 2, and 3, they have water. There is a mechanism and a system of waking those reservoirs. But again, we will explain to our colleagues in the municipalities how they work, and perhaps we need to find a way of making sure that they bring councillors on board so that they see how the system works, so that you don't give them the impression that the 3 reservoirs are not providing water. Most of the questions are really at the distributional level. And of course, I think there are questions that have been raised around communications between us and the municipality. And I think it's an area of improvement, because as I indicate, we communicate to our colleagues, and that information is to cascade. So if there's a gap between us and them, we will again, through the platforms that we have, and now being driven by the Premier and the MEC through the IGR, we will work at improving communication with our municipalities. And then of course, water conservation and demand management and education is part of the Premier's program to carry out going forward. Sean?
There was also a question about the need for a mass awareness campaign in Gauteng, which we agree with very strongly. We are going to be putting that in place. We are aware that there's a trust deficit between government and residents in Gauteng. And if it's just government putting the message across that water must be used sparingly, often citizens don't believe us, and they think that we're blaming people for the water supply disruptions. So we are putting in place a mass awareness campaign, which we're going to do together with business leaders in Gauteng, and together with civil society leaders in Gauteng, and together with experts. So We've created something called the Platform for Water Secure Gauteng, where we've gotten consensus amongst that group of people as to what are the causes, underlying causes of the water supply disruptions in Gauteng, and what are the things that need to be done to address it, including accelerating Lesotho Highlands Phase 2, including having the municipalities reduce leaks, including having the municipalities build more reservoirs and pumping stations. But very importantly as well, there needs to be a general reduction in the average consumption of water per capita in Gauteng. So we are going to be implementing this awareness campaign through an independent body called the 2030 World Bank Water Resources Group. We are going to be making a financial contribution for this awareness campaign, so is Rand Water, but we're also seeking financial contributions from the municipalities and also from business leaders. So hopefully by about November, you will start seeing much more awareness messages in Gauteng about the need to use water sparingly.
Thank you very much. MEC, our last response as a ministry, the chair of the board says, no, it's covered. Maybe the first point we want to raise, Comrade MEC, we want to raise the point that the coordination amongst the three spheres of government is an important thing. There must be seamless coordination of our work. And the platform that the Premier of Gauteng has decided to convene you for the first time under one roof is one of the best mechanisms that we can share our experiences, share our frustration, look at a number of plans that we can implement together. In other words, we can start to see what we call it intergovernmental relations at play, the issues of cooperation, the issues of coordination, and we appreciate as a first step. And that step of coordination, it allows us a platform to share information without any labor brokers, because we are living at an age where there's a lot of information, and there's also disinformation and propaganda that can be made. I think the coordination at a polka level is an important matter, and it must continue. Our attitude as a Ministry of Water and Sanitation will also suggest that we can look at regional level. In other words, MEC, we go to a particular metro or a particular district. When we go to a particular metro or a district, it will allow us sufficient time to engage. That is coordination. But on coordination, point number 2, there has always been coordination at a technical level. I know I've been assigned over time to ensure some of the difficulties. I know there's a team of Rand Water led at the level of the Group CE. In most of the instances, the COO runs it. DG Sean Phillips had assigned the provincial head, including the DDG for water and infrastructure. One of our professional engineers is a doctor too in engineering. We stole him from Joburg Water. Then municipalities, city managers are sitting there, or the technical director. There is a coordination. And we have always insisted that the technical coordination is to look at the health of the system in the morning and in the afternoon, so that decisions that must be made must be based on portfolio of evidence. Not how you feel, but the system health and it's happening. Where is the gap? The gap is on the basis of sharing of information with councillors who are not in the executive. A number of you are not in the executive. Minister Machodina and myself and DMC Tlulu, we work with everybody. In Tshwane, I work with Councillor Foos. We solve problems. We work with Mayor Brink. In Johannesburg, we work with the then mayor. Then we're also working in Mfuleni, elsewhere. We're working well with mayors. We share information. But if the councillors are not empowered, we are too close to people. You can feel their frustration. It can even become a risk if councillors don't have information. How do we distribute information but respecting the governance arrangement is an important matter. I thought I should speak about issues of coordination. I still wanted to tell you that don't politicize what? Don't bring ideology. I'm a politician, I'm a political animal. But I grew up in what? I stay in Councillor Mass, in his word. I've always said to them, don't politicize what? And everybody I go, water knows no boundaries. It knows no ideology. It's about debate. We must solve their problem. And if there is no information, we all live in one ward or the other. There is nothing called national. I belong to a ward in Pretoria. I belong to a ward in Nelspruit and in Piet Retief. That's where my family is. Don't do it. But if there is no information, there's poor performance, let's deal with it. Now that we are here, I'm appealing to Comrade MEC and the Premier that were available to serve. But before you can go and the MEC closes, what is the message? Message number one, the country remain water secure. The country remains water secure. But there are areas of concern. And Gauteng, we are one of the areas. And Gauteng as a province, both in terms of bulk, which is water security, and distribution, one of the major decisions we must make, we must invest in infrastructure. Why should we invest? There is climate change. The population has grown. The economy is growing. For a better life for the people of Gauteng and to remain a choice as our capital in the country, address the issue of funding. And you as the leadership of municipalities, Rainwater and the department were not angels. The delay on Polikhali number 2, Polikhali Dam, now it's going to be online by 28 DG and 29. But the system is so balanced, Comrade Lerato, that you have no crisis. We are going to do the shutdown on the 1st of October. Fixing the canal, because we can't say do O&M, we don't do O&M. We are going to do that. If we can postpone it, we are inviting problems. Please go back, make those decisions. In Tshwane, the mayor there is on the right track. More reservoirs, more pump station, everywhere. Everywhere, Comrade Doctor, we are here. We are one of Comrade Doctor, when you must conclude, because I decided to do an operation before the president was there. Complete yours. And we have invested a lot. That's one decision you must make. You know, where should you go and start now, because people are, you know, there's a councillor in Midval. If I was going to vote, I was going to vote for her as a best councillor. Angmazu Shonepilo councillor. Where's the councillor? She's here. A councillor on the ground, side by side with people, resolving problems. There is another councillor I love in Johannesburg. I saw him on the weekend. One of the best councillors on the ground, communities, they know him. When there's a problem, he's not a complainant. He's part of the people resolving people, telling them when the problem is going to be resolved. That's what we need, activists. Activists. And also the solutions that we are proposing are very good. You know, there are 3 things that Sipo says we must do. He says impose restrictions. When we impose restriction level 1, why should we impose it? The system as we speak now is volatile. Have you seen that? SIPO makes presentation. You know, in the GNU, you know, sometimes I wear blue to confuse others. I'm from the ANC. I'm confused. Today I'm wearing something else. I don't know this color. We work on evidence. Numbers are not going to make you to lie. If they say the system is at 40% now, the health of the system, it means it must be at 60% and above. In other words, those who manage the system must make certain decisions. When you are going to impose restrictions and tell people to actually that you are imposing restriction, keep the balance. There are those people who don't even have a drop. Can you go and say save water to someone who doesn't have a drop? They say we are mad, we are dear mekar. But there are those who have plenty. Do you know when we do restriction 1, probably I can see some of the difficulties. Your relationship between it or technical manager. I would have gone on the system, adjust the pressure, the valves. There's something called pressure reducing valves. At level 1, you will never see in terms of the bars how it works. But there are areas of wastages. One area of a wastage is to be able to use clean water for gardening. SIPO says people must not, it does not say they must not do gardening. It says the best time in the evening and early in the morning, because we are avoiding evaporation. That's one example. We are not saying people close down all our small businesses around car washes. Car washes save water. Rather than using a pipe, use a bucket. And the water that you are using there, especially for the tires you can use amanzamdag before you rinse. It's also educational, Comrade Jacob. That's what it means. That's point number 1. It says, let's impose restrictions. But those who don't have water, save them. Point number 2, it says to you, do water conservation and demand management. Water conservation and demand management, it has an element of asset management. What does it mean? Fix the leaks. Fixing the leak has 2 elements. One of the elements is to remove a pipe that has lost its lifespan. In other words, its replacement. And in many of your municipalities, you are having AC pipes. And you are losing a lot of water. There is no municipality that doesn't lose water. But what does it mean? It means that if there's a breakage, someone must attend to the problem in that particular point within a reasonable time. I don't agree with SIPO to say 48 hours. I was telling Comrade Doctor that if I'm going to pay a happy client, I want the water to be fixed in 2 to 3 hours. In other words, how dang we are unique. You can't lower the bar. We look up to you as a country. A water leak, that gazing one, a smaller nyana one, we must have a standard that in an hour, in 2 hours, that's how you handle it. In other words, when you leave here, there must be teams that must actually be able to say, when you receive the calls in the call center, they are dispatched, they have the cars, they have the tools, they arrive on time and fix the leak. The example of an area where a leak has been there for more than 10 days, it fills the stadium. You still have to pay for that water. You know that. You must be able to have that. Water conservation and demand management, what does it mean? It means those who work there must be given the tools of trade. There must be money. Your warehouse and the spare room must have spares there. That's what it means. And it was all those particular elements. That's what it means. Water conservation and demand management, it means don't leave citizens behind. You communicate with them. You tell them there's a problem. How big is the problem? You communicate. I know, for an example, a number of councillors are communicating. And you need to communicate. But as a councillor, if you don't have information, you'll have a problem. The last point, Sipo says, let's deal with illegal connection. Illegal connections, one, there is a criminality that has happened. In one area in Mamelodi, I know Councillor Brink, he has brought security there. And sometimes security has been chased away. Communities have taken over our assets, whether it's water, infrastructure, sanitation. Amazama, they want effluent because they need to clean the system. I want to report to you that all municipalities must have a security plan. But security plan does not mean hire more security. In other words, your security plan, it says, what kind of a technology you use for infrastructure? How do you use fourth industrial revolution, which is technology, and artificial intelligence? In other words, we must have eyes in the skies. When you have eyes in the skies, you will know that someone is interfering with the pipe because there's a telemetry. Telemetry, when you have that thing in your hand, you can see that there's a dip in a particular point in terms of the pressure. When there's a dip, you send in a team. There might be vandalism, there might be a system fail. That's what you do. Then you deploy an armed response. But your security plan, if it does not involve people, you will never conquer the issue. Emfuleni, we do Pungane when we started. The criminals, they will bring AK-47. They will close the plant, Comrade Jacob. They will close them. We once deployed soldiers there and say, fix the sewer problem. More money was going on security rather than money going to service delivery. You know how we won the issue there. There were NGOs. There were community-based organizations, political parties. I ended up sharing a steering committee. A steering committee that has 52 organizations. And don't close people behind because they too are affected by water. Mabathi bafuna ungena la, vula iminyango, ungayikwali iminyango. Open them up. Don't exclude communities. That's your security plan. But in Gauteng and everywhere, there are criminals. Criminals who have killed people because of water. One of the problems is the water tankering. Water tankering has become a lucrative business. Do you know what's happening? There is a collusion between employees and the water tankers. When a water tanker is not belonging to a municipality, it belongs to a private company. These employees, one, they don't monitor the water tankers. That this number of loads have been taken. They don't monitor the quality of water that gets put in them, whether the water is delivered. There is no water tankering plan. Knowing when the communities are available, people who are old and people with disabilities, they can't come to go and look for water in the truck, including the timing. And you can't exclude a council in water delivery through a tank. And you need to have a water commit in every street. And the community knows what is an any tank. Unlike in Pretoria where I was made in my ward to go to a tanker at 10 midnight in the evening. It's a security risk. In other ways, you must be considerate. But the Ministry of Water hates, I must repeat, we hate water tankers, especially private ones. Number two, we hate that water tankers are becoming permanent. If they are there, it's for a short period, there's an infrastructure fail. If they are there, they must belong to a municipality. And there must be a plan. When you use a water tank, That money does not come, is part of non-revenue water. It's one again, Nase Everton and everywhere. There are guys who are connecting, who are professional plumbers, professional artisans. They connect the pipe on the main system. So good from an engineering point. You can think it's a legal one. It's a legal one. And when you go there, these guys are highly armed. They are not going to terrorize us. We have agreed with Minister Majodina, Minister of Defense, Minister Mkhunu. The criminals, they have no role in our community. We are going to deal with them. Because it's an inconvenience. We must disconnect illegal connections. If people want to connect, let them come to the municipality. Let them be connected properly, so you can get your money. That is our attitude around illegal connection. As I was saying to you, I hear many of your pressures, and I know it's not easy to pay council. I was once an HOD for court, where a councillor will phone me and say, HOD, I'm hearing steps outside my house. Can you send police? It's a dangerous job. That's why in certain and it's a thankless job, but on behalf of the country, I want to thank you for being available to serve. It's a dangerous job, and we must support you. When you scream at us, we don't feel bad because we know you feel the pressure. That's why councillors were to bring in SARSIA. You know SARSIA? So that it can cover any possible losses. That's the matter we're dealing with. But in Gauteng, if Randwater gives you 5 billion liters, pump it every day without fail, 5 billion. And you as Randwater, out of the, not Randwater, as a province, you lose about 2.5 billion, around 2 billion liters. Because the water losses in the province are ranging between 30% to 45%. Ukomre tunangane uhate uyaziga yena 78%. Imagine, out of the 2 billion liters that we are wasting through other means, we can reduce it to first to 1.5 billion. At a particular point, we come to 1 billion. At a particular point, we come to 700 million. It can make a plan. And Comrade DG, don't be soft on Randwater and the municipalities in Gauteng. If they don't give you a plan on how they are going to reduce from 2 something billion over what period until to about less than 500 million liters that are lost in Gauteng over a particular period. At a particular point, the 1.6 thousands cubic meters that you take, we're going to reduce them. Because if we actually speak to you as leaders, you must demonstrate you can hear us. And we're hearing you when you say don't close. We're not going to close. But there must be a plan. That's the message you must take home. But for you to reduce it, illegal connection must be dealt with, water restriction, fixed infrastructure, customers must pay. Those who can pay. That's the game. That's the game plan. The last point, I sit down. The capacity of municipalities. We are not in good shape. Not all municipalities are weak. Midvaal is one of the shining examples. But there can be many other Midvaal. As a youngster, I always dreamed of working under Eguruleni. It was one of the best municipalities. Comrade Doctor, you must lift it up. I knew as a scientist that one day if I can work there, because I grew up in Gauteng. And then I thought I can also work in Durban. You know, Durban, there was once a time when the right professionals were there. And there was good governance, no interference with administration, but proper oversight and intervention where necessary. Stop appointing wrong people immediately. because most of our problems are human-made. If they are already in the system, let's capacitate them, let's support them. But if they don't perform, they must step aside. Because if they don't perform, they make you to be in conflict with the citizen. They are employees who are failing us. And engage with unions. Unions must not defend people who are not working. But we must not actually bully workers, create good conditions for the workers, give them the tools of trade. Don't get involved in tenders. A number of projects for water infrastructure are not starting on time because a number of people, they say, no, these employees, they can't appoint because we have not clarified who must get to the tender. Everybody must follow the rules. Even when they get the tender, they must perform. We can't continuously pay people for work that is not being performed. That is only our appeal. But Tinage, asizohamba nopanyaza ngoba, is a man of action. Supported by Comrade Jacob, we are with SASCO, Nagawitlik, YCL. We are Kubage Lumfu. Utaw. We are one again, Kulubeni. I'm missing the Inanganis right now. Kulub. You know what? We want to work together. But at a particular point, if you don't come to the part, we are going to leave you behind and address the concerns of our people. Galebuch.
Thank you, TM. Let's also acknowledge the MEC has just joined us now. I would want to give to the Usotolopo Wasa Ikurulenis just to greet his people. 2 minutes, Mayor, and then we'll close with the MEC.
Oh, thank you very much, Program Director. And just to greet and really to, on behalf of the other mayors and the other cities, the other municipalities, we really want to take the opportunity to appreciate the discussions we've had here regarding this critical issue of water. And indeed, the Gauteng water Imbizo has provided us with a platform to share insight, to look at the challenges and look at what are the solutions for us to essentially deal with water in a sustainable way in our communities. And Deputy Minister Mahlobo, Ubaba wetu Premier Panyaza, in absentia, MEC of Kokta, the Program Director, we really want to thank you for ensuring that rainwater, the chair and the CEO there, they do come and engage. In fact, we must use the word, they do come and account to counsel us. And I know that the CEO was saying, no, I'm only go up until a particular level. And they must really come to customers because communication is key. And the municipalities must not appear as if they are begging. We are a customer to rainwater. There's only 5 of us, 5 in Gauteng. Of course, if I'm talking district. So it should be possible for the chair of the rainwater to see us at least every month, once in a calendar. I'm saying the end, it is the mayor. Don't just end with the depot manager, the technical people every day. Because we've got the responsibility to pass through the message to communities. And what we're appreciating is that this platform really gives us that clarity. We begin now to grapple with topics, water conservation and water demand management. We can now engage with our HODs. I'm sure my MMC is there of water. And say, please explain this concept. How far away? If I don't explain it, the councillors that are here, they will ask me, please explain. And I think we want to make that appreciation. We also want to commit to also work with yourselves in some of the strategies that you've shared. imposing restrictions, different levels. Of course, we must be guided. At what point must we do dealing with the leaks? Of course, leaks are linked to the capacity. Do we have the money as communities paying? Do we have the resources, the right engineers? Gauteng is growing. I was saying to the chair of Rainwater, Yene Guruleni, we are now sitting at over 4.2 million population. We've grown over a period with 1 million, with in-migration and all that. The residential base has also grown. We're talking now from 1 million households to about 1.5 households. But the people who are paying, they are not increasing at the same. So it's economic challenges, is all that. So there has to be an appreciation. I know it's not your challenge, Rainwater, probably Honorable Minister at DWS and the Minister of Gauteng. In some of the engagement, what do we do to make sure that you assist us to have money to continue to discharge services? I just thought that I must say, because we are here and the mayors are sitting there, let our voice as well be heard. Thank you very much for making this opportunity. We do want to make a call that let it come down to specific municipalities periodically. Otherwise, all good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me quickly thank the program directors. Deputy Minister, thank you. On behalf of the provincial government, CEO, Chair of Rainwater, DG, and our DG of the province, to all of you, all mayors here, all MMCs, all councillors, everybody who's here, I would like to thank you. Just profusely, let me apologize for the Premier, myself. We should have been here, but I think our apologies would have been properly communicated. Last point is that, let me just assure you that this Imbizo is not the last. In actual fact, we will have another one before the end of the year. The intention is to formalize this at least 1 quarter. We have an Imbizo where we can have discussions not only about water, but about all issues that affect you and the communities. Every quarter, we will have this type of an Imbizo to share information, to allow us to engage us so that we can also learn from yourselves. We will be coming to your communities, so we are going to do that. I can just announce to you, after this meeting, we are meeting with all the contractors for the Department of Infrastructure. We want to launch with them the campaign to start saving water. So as you leave, they will be coming in. We launch our program with them. We're going to be going everywhere, talking to everyone so that we can use water properly. The objective is what councillors must be the primary source of data, of information. Empowering a ward councillor is the best way to empower communities. That's why we will call you, we will share information on almost all the issues that are critical to you. Lunch is served, and sincere thanks. Drive home safely, be well. We wish you all from Gauteng, from the Premier, who appreciate the work of ward councillors. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you.